All right, everyone, here we go. I just want to run through how to do letters in perspective. This is just kind of like a hand-drawn practice demo, I guess you could call it. But it's pretty much the same thing as the T that you all have on your perspective packet. I just kind of want to walk through it because I think it's important to check it out again. So I have our steps listed over here in the corner. We have a vanishing point. We have a flat shape. In this case, it's in the shape of a T. Number one thing we want to do is connect the corners of our letter back to the vanishing point using a ruler. Then we're going to use horizontal and vertical lines to create the back edge of the shape. And then finally, we're going to erase all the lines that we do not need. So these are our steps up here. We're going to follow them one at a time. This is how it looks. So I'm going to grab my ruler. In my case, my ruler's from Home Depot. It was free. Just got to ask nicely. So we're going to identify some corners that we're going to bring back to the vanishing point. Now, technically, this is going to be different every time, and you kind of develop a feel for it. But here are the corners we're going to use today. So we got corner over here. Yes, 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 yes. Now, so those are all on one side of the shape. So that makes sense. They are facing the vanishing point. They're closest to the vanishing point. However, we're also going to use this point over here. It's kind of hard to explain exactly what you need because the only one that you're not drawing back to the vanishing point is this guy up here. I guess technically you could say, this corner is furthest away from the vanishing point, so we're not going to use it. But really the reason is if you line up the ruler right with this line, this orthogonal line, the line that's going back to the vanishing point, the first thing it does is it goes through the shape. So we wouldn't be able to see that line, and that's why we're not drawing it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But because all these orthogonal lines, right, are going to be coming out into empty space, right? That means they're going to be necessary. We're going to need them. But this line we do not need, right, because it's going through the shape itself. That's what I have right now, but eventually you'll kind of learn to figure out what you need and what you don't. So step one, corners back to the vanishing point. So we're going to line up our ruler with a corner and a vanishing point. We're going to draw that line all the way back, just like that. Just erase the lines that I drew. All right, corner number one done. We're moving on to corner number two, and I'm just going to go all the way around this shape. I'm just kind of rotating my ruler and trying to bring those lines back to the vanishing point. And again, this is just a demo. I just want everyone to kind of see what we're doing. Yours is already done, so you can kind of refer to the T on your paper, but you do not need to complete this assignment right now, or this activity. And again, last but not least, bringing back that T all the way to the back. So right now, I don't know, I've called it different things before, but when you complete step number one, you kind of wind up with a bat signal, if that makes sense. So you have like something that's being projected, like it goes all the way back in space, all the way to its origin or to the vanishing point. So right now we have a really long shape. That's what it looks like to me. This T is so long, it's ridiculous. So what we need to do now is kind of chop it off in the back and figure out how far back this T goes. And it doesn't matter how far back it goes. It's totally up to you. It can end way back here. It can end almost immediately. It just kind of depends. So we're going to just pick a spot, arbitrary line. But what we're going to do, and I kind of showed this to you before, but this edge, it's just kind of like a zigzag, so it kind of looks like this. Right, so that edge of the T, we're just going to redraw somewhere back over here. Okay, so let's identify some things. We got a vertical line right here, right? Tiny little vertical line. We got a horizontal line over here. It's coming straight across the bar of the T. And we have the stem of the T. That's also going to be a vertical line because it's straight up and down. And then last but not least, we got this guy over here. I guess technically we have another horizontal line over here as well. Okay, and that matches over here, right? Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, and then we actually will have another horizontal over here. Okay, so we'll start at the top, just this very short line. I'm gonna zoom in just a smidge. Okay, so we have a horizontal line right here. That's the edge of the T, so we're gonna slide the ruler over towards that vanishing point. I think that's about as far as we need to go, and then we're just gonna go ahead and place that vertical line, right? Vertical here, that means it's vertical back here. Sorry. So popular. One second. Please be quiet. All right. So vertical line done, right? We just did this guy. Now we have to do this horizontal line over here. So we're going to go ahead, line up our ruler horizontally best we can. Slide it down until it meets the other line that we've created. Looks like right about there is the right place. And then we're going to draw a horizontal line. We're going to stop when we get to this other orthogonal line. So the orthogonal lines are kind of like the boundaries for your horizontal and vertical lines. So we've done vertical, horizontal, we're back to vertical. Right? So we're going to use a ruler, line it up, slide it back until we get to the line that we just drew. If it helps, you can look at it this way. Boom, right there is the cross. And we're going to take our pencil and go from orthogonal line to orthogonal line, no further. There we go. So vertical's done, we got a horizontal to do over here. So again, lining that ruler up with the horizontal line as best we can. I realize my drawing's a little bit off. There we go, and we're just going to slide that straight down till it meets the vertical line that we just drew. And we're going to make the final line. Right? So just like we said, we did vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Last but not least, we just had this horizontal line over here, the crossbar on the T. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. It's probably going to be roughly even with the other side of the T, so we can even line it up that way. So put our ruler in, slide it down, and we can just put our little line in right there. And we can tell just by looking at this that it looks roughly accurate, right? Nothing looks crazy out of place, except for my weird leaning lines. But just to double check, we got a vertical line over here, vertical line here, horizontal, yep, horizontal, vertical, yep, vertical, horizontal, totally, horizontal, absolutely. All right, our last step is erase. So we're going to erase all the orthogonal lines that we do not need. We're going to start at the vanishing point, come back, and erase. Carefully making sure that we don't erase any lines that we actually need. But some of these are just planning lines. Some of these orthogonal lines are just lines that we needed to plan. So we're going to go ahead and erase those. And then I got a little triangle over here that I got to get rid of. And there we go. Oops. All right, so that's how the T works. We do not need this line going back to the vanishing point, but all the other corners were connected to the vanishing point. Then we use vertical and horizontal lines to add in that back shape to get rid of that kind of bat shape. It's the T signal, exactly. Anytime you need like a cup of tea, you just shine this light in the sky and someone comes and gives you some tea. All right. So there you go. Good question. So Rebecca's question is, how would a rounded shape work? So that's kind of how whatever's mimicked. So if you have a circle, for instance, right? If you have a circle that you're trying to make into a cylinder, right? You're going to do the same steps, except there are no corners, right? So you would just do like the top and the bottom. So the top comes back to the vanishing point, and so does the bottom. But you're going to match the front end with the back end, so you're also going to have a curve, right? It's a little more artistic, it's a little bit more creative, and it's a little less kind of step by step. But if you were drawing in 1-point perspective, you would simply match this edge. You would match that front edge with the back edge, but it would be a little bit smaller, right? Because it's further back in space. And that's the same thing you're doing over here, right? We matched this edge with this back edge. Oops. So the process is more or less the same, I guess. Right? It's just a little bit different. Right on. So there you go. That's my demo. Yes. Does anyone have any questions on that?